Anthony measured the length and width of a rectangle. He measured the length to be 18 centimetres, correct to the nearest centimetre. He measured the width to be 10 centimetres, correct to the nearest 10 centimetres. Calculate the lower bound for the area of this rectangle. So I'll just do a quick sketch of this rectangle. And I've got that the length is 18 and that's to the nearest centimetre. So the lower bound for that would be 17.5 and the upper bound would be 18.5. So you have to think the centimetre below 18 is 17 and at 17.5 it starts rounding to 18. The centimetre above 18 is 19 and at 18.5 it starts rounding to 19. Then I do the same for the width. So the width is 10 centimetres, but that's to the nearest 10 centimetres. So the 10 centimetres below that is going to be 0. So it's at 5 that we stop rounding to 0 and we start rounding to 10. And the 10 centimetres above 10 is at 20. And it's at 15 that we stop rounding to 10 and start rounding to 20. So I've got my limits of accuracy sorted for both the length and the width. I need to calculate the lower bound for the area of this rectangle. Now area is obviously base times height. Now I'm always, even if I'm pretty sure which one I'm going to use, which bounds I'm going to use, I'm always going to try all of them just to check. So I need to use a base and a height. I need to make sure I've tried all options. So I could do 17.5 times 5, or I could do 17.5 times 15. Then I could do 18.5 times 5 or 18.5 times 15. So I've included all options there. And then it's a non-calculator question, this is. So I just need to figure out the answer to each of these. So I've got 17.5 times 5. If I think 17.5 times 10 is 175. So I want times 5, so I need to halve that. So it's going to be 50. Half of 100 is 50. Half of 70 is 35. Half of 5 is 2.5. So that's going to be 85, 87.5. If I just scroll everything up a bit. So I've got some more room to work out. If I carry on then, so I've got the next one is 17.5 times 15. So I already know 17.5 times 10. I already know 17.5 times 5, so I just need to add the 175 to the 87.5 I found earlier. Which is 262.5. I've also got 18.5 times 5. So if I do 18.5 times 10 is 185. So if I want just times 5, I need to halve that. Half of 100 is 50. Half of 80 is 40. Half of 5 is 2.5. So altogether that's going to be 92.5. And then the last one is 18.5 times 15, which, like earlier, it's the addition of the ones above. So you've got 185, add 92.5, which is 177.5. So now that I've done this, I've used all the bounds possible, and I can clearly see, when I look back at the question, it's asking me for the lower bound. So I want the lowest number there, and the lowest number there is 87.5, which, as you would expect, is using the two lower bounds. So my final answer is 87.5 centimetres squared.